Julia Gillard has now started tweeting. She opened a Twitter account yesterday, and in 24 hours she has had over 10,000 people following her on Twitter. Let's have a look, Nick, at Julia Gillard's Twitter site. She's now made 2 tweets, one yesterday just introducing the fact that she's online, and then this morning making a comment about our military sacrifices overseas. She has over 10,000 people following in 24 hours.
Well, the thing about it was that Twitter is very passé. I mean, everyone's got a Twitter account. Well, almost everyone. You've got one.
It took her a while. I've got
well, that's the thing. She's turned it into an event. I mean, it made news. The PM is going to join Twitter. Now, that shouldn't be an event.
About a week.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, so it was an event. I mean, we've made it into an event on this blog. So, you know, I don't think it was calculated like that. I actually think that she just wasn't on Twitter, but it turned into an event and has been met with, good reception to have it. There's 10,000 followers so quickly.
It certainly is. Talking about the fact that she did build this into an event, what is interesting is to look at Tony Abbott's Twitter site, because Tony Abbott, who is not a voracious tweeter, in the last few days, since we've had this lead up to Julia Gillard going to tweet, Tony Abbott has made 2 government policy announcements on Twitter, both related to the health area, one for type 1 diabetes and the other for mental health.
And he hasn't done that in the past at all.
He's never done that in the past at all. He's been very different types of tweets. So this is the first time he's actually introduced a policy dimension or a thoughtful dimension in terms of selling policy to the public online, so we can follow.
And he's been on Twitter for quite a while, and yet
he has 10,154 today, which is about 100 more than Julia Gillard in 24 hours. But it does show people do want to hear this. So I think competition's on. I think a new Prime Minister who is going to engage thoughtfully, as she said she wants to be involved in her own tweets, I think we'll see Tony Abbott also respond.
But what a thing. I mean, now, if she's leading the way on social media, now he's following. Isn't that interesting, given that he was already on social media and could have been leading the way a lot more than what he has been doing?
Maybe that's why she's the Prime Minister and he's still the opposition leader.
Well, I'll leave you to pontificate about that, Peter.
Let's have a look at their Facebook usage. Julia Gillard has been using Facebook for a while, and she has 25,500 people almost following her on Facebook. She has, since becoming Prime Minister, made policy announcements on tax reform, and as well as a few personal asides, some humorous ones, and a video that she made, which she put on Facebook, where she wasn't just making a policy announcement, it's actually thanking people for following her, Nick.
Yeah, and that's exactly like Obama did the same thing. He actually got on to Facebook and thanked people for following him, which, you know, is actually engaging more than just broadcasting. I mean, we can watch a little bit of that video here of her in the car, you know.
Today I'm in Macau.
Yeah.
You know, thanking people for following her and for the kind words and all that sort of thing. And then it just announces, you know, that she's in a car driving and she's going to Mackay. So, you know, it's just a very social type of video.
Yeah, it was really good to see, actually.
And this is the real Julia Gillard. Because when we actually searched,
yes.
In fact, doing a Google search for Julia Gillard Facebook brings up a Julia Gillard that has the same photograph here, but a very different profile.
It does indeed.
Yeah.
A schoolgirl profile.
Yeah.
We'll let you hunt that one down for your own interest.
Yeah.
The other, let's have a look at Tony Abbott's Facebook, Nick, because
where is it?
he has been on Facebook for a while. He only uses Facebook to post pictures. Everywhere he's gone and everything he's done, he'll post a picture. He doesn't speak much as such. Interesting, he has 7,600 odd people following him. So Julia Gillard already leads him on the Facebook site. So it'll be interesting to see if Tony Abbott can lift his game in the way he uses Facebook a little bit more, rather than just posting pictures, but maybe talk a little bit more about policy announcements, spray some information out there, engage a little bit more. I know a picture says 1,000 words, Nick, but
the thing is though that this stuff shouldn't be hard. It's social media. It's you've got your blog, you've got Facebook, you've got LinkedIn, and you've got Twitter. And these are easy to integrate, and thousands of people with no staff and no profile in a public sense are using these things effectively for their businesses, for their own social branding.
They are. And these guys with all their staff should be able to put a profile together. I think if we got them to have a look at Malcolm Turnbull's usage in social media, preemptive usage, every time he makes a speech, every time he writes an article, he will notify on Twitter what he's done. He will put that speech onto his blog site, and he will invite commentary on that. Very simple process.
Talking about blogs, Tony Abbott has had a blog for a while, and as you pointed out, or you have pointed out, he hasn't been very active recently at all.
No, he hasn't at all.
On it, but he has one here, and it's another, very typical way. In fact, it's almost old-fashioned compared to Twitter, but a social media way of engaging with people and letting them know what you're doing. So
it's true. He does. Prior to going on the polypedal, he would blog regularly, and he would write his article. He would seek the feedback. He would respond to the feedback, both the critical feedback and the complimentary feedback. So he did use the process. He stopped using it for a while. It'd be interesting to see if he actually starts using that as a form of talking to some of his constituency. Now, the Prime Minister's blog site, well, this was Kevin Rudd's blog site up till very recently, and all of his blogs have gone off, the few that he did make. We now have a picture of Julia Gillard. She's put nothing on yet, which is surprising given the importance of her tax reform package over the last few days and the change in that, and that has not gone up on her blog site. Did go on her Facebook page, so it'll be interesting to see if she and her team can actually integrate, well, let's see, just these three forms of communication with the electorate. Use the Twitter, use the Facebook page, and to use her blog page.
Well, to essentially bring people back to the blog, which is really the home.
Where all the serious conversation should, I guess, be. So we'll look forward to seeing now, as I think we head towards an early election, how how game on, I think is how Julia Gillard described it to Tony Abbott when she first became Prime Minister, how we communicate, or how our leaders communicate with the Australian public leading up to the election.
Yeah, until next time.
Speak to you soon.